The venue was dark, not closing time dark, abandoned dark. Chairs stacked, flowers wilting in plastic buckets, a banner half torn, her name sagging in gold letters like it was ashamed to still be there. I checked my watch, 7:42 p.m. I stood in the empty parking lot holding a gift bag that had cost more than my first car, the night air pressing against my ribs like it knew something I didn't. I dialed her, 1 ring, 2. She answered like I was an inconvenience she hadn't planned for. "Hey," she said. The word landed flat. "I'm here," I said. My voice didn't shake. That surprised me. A pause. Too long. "The party ended 2 hours ago," she said. Then softer, almost careless. "I guess I didn't want you there." Silence swallowed the space between us. I watched a janitor lock the door behind the glass. The click echoed inside my skull. "I paid for the venue," I said. Another pause, this one sharper. "I have to go," she replied. The line went dead. That was when my phone vibrated again. Not a call, a notification. Her post. A photo I hadn't seen yet, but somehow already knew. I sat in the car and stared at the screen until the world narrowed into pixels and breath. There she was, smiling, radiant, her hand resting on a man's chest like it belonged there. "Couldn't have done this without you. Forever grateful to the one who believed in me when it mattered. Thank you for sponsoring my education." Tagged, her office, her firm, him. I read it 3 times before my brain allowed the meaning to stick. Sponsored. Not me, not the man who worked 16-hour days, not the one who wired tuition payments before dawn and answered investor calls after midnight. Him. I scrolled. Older posts surfaced like bones. Late nights at the office, inside jokes, photos cropped too carefully. The pattern revealed itself not with shock, but with quiet inevitability, like realizing a house has been sinking for years, you just hadn't noticed the tilt. I didn't feel rage, I felt alignment. Everything suddenly made sense. The distance, the rehearsed gratitude, the way she'd stopped asking how my day went. I drove home without music, without calling anyone. The road felt long and surgical. When I pulled into the driveway of the house I bought, the lights were off. She wouldn't be home. Of course she wouldn't. I didn't confront her. That's what people expect. Explosions, accusations, ugly words thrown like broken glass. I prefer precision. I spent the night reading bank statements, legal documents, emails I'd archived and never needed until now. I had always been the silent partner, the one behind the curtain, 90% ownership. His startup, my capital. She never knew. Her lover never asked. Men like him don't check whose money they're standing on. I canceled the payments first. Tuition auto payments, gone. Credit lines, frozen. The lease on her luxury apartment downtown, terminated. Each click felt like tightening a wire. I sold my stake the next morning, quietly, legally. $157 million transferred before lunch. I watched the confirmation email load. No satisfaction, just completion. Then I waited. I imagined the moment the numbers wouldn't add up, the moment his CFO's voice would tighten, the moment she'd realize her future was built on a foundation she didn't own. I made coffee, sat by the window, let the phone rest on the table. It didn't take long. The calls came first. 1, 10, 50. By the time the number hit 154, the phone was vibrating like it was afraid of being touched. Then the knock, sharp, urgent. I opened the door slowly. He stood there, pale, suit wrinkled, eyes glassy with panic. The man who had smiled beside my wife like he'd won something. "Please," he said. That was all. I stepped aside. He talked fast, too fast, about misunderstandings, about timing, about how he didn't know. I handed him a folder. Inside, contracts, ownership breakdowns, transfer confirmations. His hands shook as he flipped pages. "I owned your company," I said calmly, past tense. His mouth opened, closed. "And her education?" I added mightily. That was me too. He sank into the chair like gravity had finally remembered him. I loved her, he whispered. I nodded once. So did I. She arrived 20 minutes later, eyes red, mascara streaked like war paint she hadn't earned. She saw him first, then me, her face fractured. "You knew?" she asked. I didn't answer. She moved closer, reached for my arm. I stepped back. "I didn't want you at the party," she said, voice cracking, "because I couldn't look at you and lie anymore." I met her eyes for the first time that day. "You didn't lie," I said. "You replaced." She collapsed into sobs. He stared at the floor. I picked up my keys. "The house is mine," I said. "The accounts are mine. The future you planned is gone." I paused at the door. "You should thank him," I added softly. "He taught you what happens when you mistake generosity for weakness." I left them there. That night I slept better than I had in years. No dreams, no echoes. In the morning I packed what mattered, left the rest behind like evidence of a life that had already ended. Betrayal doesn't break you, it clarifies you. I didn't win. I didn't lose. I walked away with the only thing that mattered: control. And for the first time, the silence didn't feel empty. It felt earned.